One of the most recognized sculptors in America today, James Surls moved to the Roaring Fork Valley from East Texas in 1998. A prolific artist whose art blends natural forms of wood, steel, and bronze to create a unique, sophisticated imagery. His work has been shown at the Whitney Biennial in New York and has been featured in Art in America and Time magazine.
The muse for any artist could be anything. I actually draw strictly from nature, either psychological, the nature of man, or from physical nature, trees, green grass, sticks, rivers, rocks, sky, wind, the natural phenomenon. Human nature is as much part of nature as is rocks and trees. I am human. I am nature. My muse is twofold: physical nature and psychological nature. How does open space influence you as opposed to a closed space? I lived in a closed space. I lived in trees, lots of trees. My world was green, 100%. I lived in a green envelope. Now I live in a blue envelope, sky. And across the horizon, it's not just a fading, distant, horizontal line. The horizon has these magnificent things that just set out there. Mountains. I look out my window at Mount Sopris. I can see Daly and Capitol in the backside of the Aspen Mountain. Best views in the world. It's great. It'll influence me. My art has become much more open and gestural, maybe in a grand sense. And they read more as lines in space. They read more as drawings. A flower is an organic growth pattern for a specific purpose. It attracts, and it emits. It attracts insects and visuals. It emits seeds, either blown by wind or just dropped. So I look at flowers in my art as basically as organic growth patterns that are to attract you. They will pull you toward it. It's, I think that flowers in essence becomes a symbol, just like I think the knife is a symbol. Knives are history of males. The knives progressed from a sharpened rock, to something they tied on the end of a stick, to something that they could swing around and then hurl, all the way up to the hydrogen bomb. It has progressed historically where the knife took on bigger and greater physical power and prowess. The knife is a male image. The diamond is a symbol. Those are clean, they're calculated, they're rational, they're systematic, they're very formal. They're of the intellect. That is an intellectual symbol, a symbol of our intellectual ability to reason, to make facets. The eye is a symbol. It's been around forever. If it's got an eye on it, it has a life in it, and it's looking back at you. And you have to deal with that eye as though that thing that it's on had some life form in it. Very, very important. The first thing a baby sees, two eyes, two nipples, which is very eye-like, They bond. They fixate. They just absorbed that. Now they know where to look. I mean, know where to look. That's a big deal. That kind of zeroes in on something very important in the human psyche. I think that's what makes a symbol universal. For it to be a universal symbol, it has to have a context broader than just, it's not a code. You're not sitting down writing out some secret code. It's a code that's pretty well, or a symbol is pretty well absorbed into humanity. I don't know how else to say this other than I don't know anyone else's art that looks like mine. I mean, you could go line up a whole lot of artists and say, well, this artist, this artist, this artist, and this artist all fall within this genre or category of aesthetic visuals. My art's sort of alone. Well, I think that bodes well for me. I'm not unhappy about that, quite the contrary. I actually would be happy about that. But what it means is, it means that it doesn't fit into a very given fashion-oriented visuals, appearance. I really wanted my art to be alive. I wanted it to look at me. I wanted it to look back at me, I wanted it to kind of reciprocate, in my dialogue with it. I guess in reality, it's just an object. So you can say, well, you can only talk to it. But art's supposed to be symbolic of something. It's supposed to represent something. It's supposed to have some meaning. If it doesn't, well, it's just another chair.